What is up, Internet? We are live with Rachel and Johnny Kyles out of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Yes.
Cool. Recently, they had a run in with the Fort Payne Middle School. It's not been handled, they think, well, and then I think a lot of other people don't think it's been handled well either. It's kind of picking up steam. Y'all recently had the news come out already, right?
Yes, it went on
Yes.
Way 31 last night at 10 o'clock.
Okay, so is it already broadcasted and stuff?
It is, and it will
Yes.
be broadcasted for the rest of the weekend as well.
All right, cool. We have to share that. So, tell us a little bit about what happened. Give us the breakdown. What happened? What caused this?
Which part?
Uh, just your interaction with the principal and the his like I guess assistants and stuff at the school. All the TikTok videos where you're getting into it with them. You're trying to ask them questions. They're kind of telling you to shut up. One guy was kind of laughing at you. Uh,
That was the principal. I had took the death threat to the principal, and he laughed at me and said my son was not in any danger. Um, and so I didn't want to speak to him anymore. Like my son was just threatened to be shot, and you're telling me he's not in danger, and that this isn't an emergency. So there's really no need to speak to you anymore. So I immediately went to the superintendent.
okay, so how did the threat happen? What was actually said? Where was it said? Who said? I know you probably can't say names because it's a kid, but where did it happen and what exactly was said?
As what we know is that it happened on a bus with another student.
Yeah.
Apparently, the student was older than our son.
How old's your son?
He is 8.
Yeah, keep going. I'm listening.
All right. So, and apparently, the other kid, he might have been like a few or maybe several grades over than what our kid is.
Okay. So what did he say?
So he threatened to shoot Nicholas, and then when Nicholas brought it to my attention, his sister brought it to my attention, some other students that I'm friends with their parents, they spoke up and said that, hey, this is what happened. So I immediately dived in and tried taking care of the situation. The police was aware of it. The school was aware of it. They said that they would handle it. So I haven't stopped asking for updates. I haven't stopped going at them.
Yeah, because
I'm
my
wanting
kid.
something updated.
So now I have heard some people say that it was back in August, right? No, June, July, August. Yeah. No. When did it happen?
So this has all been going on the past several months, and
Okay.
it's just progressively getting worse. My son was spanked on the school bus. This situation is being swept under the rug
But you've been
Um,
asking for updates since when it happened.
since it's
What's gonna
started.
happen? So like let's say, so remember a while back a little girl went missing here, like a teenage girl, right?
Yeah.
She was a cheerleader and stuff like that. She went missing, and that was a huge deal. That was a massive deal, right? I feel like it might like, hey, say it. Why wasn't it such a big deal when a kid was threatened to be shot at a school? So the kid that done that, does he play sports? What does he do?
So this is why it's confusing to me. So when I took it to their attention, they said that they would handle it and update me. I didn't get updated. And this is where it's getting fuzzy for me. So when my son was spanked on the school bus by a bus driver,
Why would a school bus driver spank the kid?
I know. I immediately, when I found out, I immediately called the bus transportation. The director told me that she could give it to the superintendent, and I went to his office. And when I talked to them about the situation, the bus driver showed me and my husband the video
Mm.
of my son being spanked on the bus. You've seen other children in the background of this situation. And the threat was made on the bus. So if he can show me the video footage of my son being spanked with other children in the background, why can he not show me the video footage of the threat with other children in the background?
Agreed. Now, why did the kid get spanked on the bus? He was just being a kid, being kind of wild.
I don't know. They showed us the video.
He just said, "Hey, I spanked your kid."
No,
No, he
that's
didn't
not
say
how it
that.
happened.
Like, he was hanging out in the aisle,
Yeah.
and the bus driver just kind of put his hand back there, and
Yeah.
I think he was trying to get his attention.
Yeah. But still a weird thing to do. Like, just, hey,
Yeah,
man,
I don't
please
like
go,
it.
please go sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Go sit down, bud.
I don't
Like,
like
that's your job as a school bus
Mm-mm.
driver.
when you
So,
touch my son's bottom.
That's weird.
I have a weird problem with that. So I asked the superintendent, and he showed us the video, and I was like, "Your bus driver literally just put his hand on my son's tail. He popped my son's butt.
and
He
this was
spanked
after
him."
the first threat.
That was before it.
Oh.
So that's what started this whole thing. Like I I told my one it handled, and I want proof that it's handled because bus drivers shouldn't be spanking your kids.
No, it's
I
not
don't
okay.
care.
Yeah.
So that's what started it. And then when this happened, I took it to them. They're like, "We'll take care of it." Never heard anything.
So the guy laughing at you, that was a very strange, weird, kind of creepy. We'll see what he has. We'll let him decide that. That was creepy, bro. That's the
Yeah.
principal.
That's the principal over Fort Payne Middle School. Yeah.
That's a weird way to act. Now, who was the lady with the '80s hair? Because a lot of people was giving her grief on that hair, man.
Where?
You were trying to talk to her, and she goes, "I know you're recording," and you go, "I have
Okay.
to for my safety," and she says, "Well, then I can't talk to you," and she walked off. Her hair was I'm not making fun of her hair. It's just I saw people making. They said, "What in the '80s hairdo is that?" And who was that lady?
So my son's on an IEP,
Okay.
and we just discovered that
What's IEP?
it's an individual education program.
Okay.
He has some issues. He struggles with some school. So it's there to help children that need extra help.
Yeah.
So we just recently discovered my son's IEP has been ripped away from him, and I wasn't notified. I wasn't aware of it. Nothing. It was just like taking away from him.
Yeah.
So I was told by my child advocate to go to the school and talk to Miss Jackson. She's the special education director. And so I did. And I was advised I can record.
Hey, y'all
Hey guys.
I was told that I can record because I'm not fixing to trust any of these people that is laughing at a gun threat. I'm
No.
not trusting you. Ain't
Yeah.
happening. So I went to get the records. She didn't give me my child's record. She said that they have 45 days and that's completely false. We have an IEP meeting scheduled for this Monday. She's refusing to give me my child's paperwork that I have not received. So that's a problem.
Yeah. Why would they refuse to give you the paperwork?
Exactly.
And now, as far as like the police and stuff getting involved, when I was a kid, when I was in school, I was maybe 8th grade, 9th grade. I wasn't doing my schoolwork and stuff. I wasn't being a good kid. I know that undoubtedly. And every time I see a teacher from my time as a student, I apologize. I'm like, man, I'm so sorry. I thought it was cool to get in trouble, and it really wasn't, but like it was getting me attention. So I was out here just, doing silly crap. Well, it got really bad. I said something to my one of my teachers, my math teacher, Miss Price, sweet, wonderful lady, and I've apologized to her since. And I said what I said, and within, like, it took time for word to travel, but by the end of the day, the police were there to pick me up and take me away.
Did you
Right?
know why?
Yeah, I knew. I was like, man, they got me quick. But I said what I said.
Mm.
That boy said what he said to your kid. I didn't play football in school. I didn't do this, and this, right? I'm not saying that's 100% why that kid's not getting in trouble. I'm just saying, like, I deserve to get in trouble, and I'm aware of that, right? But it took them to the end of the day, and y'all have had, 3 months?
We've had
been
several
way
months.
more than 3 months.
We've had
5,
several
6
months.
months. Nothing's
we-
happened.
We
Nothing
keep
has-
asking.
Nothing's been said
Yeah.
or done. I don't know. We don't know the status of this child at all.
We went
So-
to Trey's orientation, and we also have that, but have been told not to release those documents. But there had been some issues, and so we was discussing some matters with the principal. Miss Lorraine Atkins was in there. Both counselors of the middle school was in there. Miss Jennings was in there, and Mr. Shane Bird. And when I get in there, Mr. Shane Bird looks at me and he tells me that I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna just stand there and listen. And I'm like, you're talking to a parent that way? And at the end of the conversation, he's just bullying me to like completely bullying me. And so at the end of the conversation, I was like, you can't tell me this. And he just kept cutting me off. And then he made comments.
Well, which part are you talking?
The end of the conversation.
Was it the entire conversation or just that
When
one
the
whole
end
bit?
of it, when he was making comments about he's gonna make sure the superintendent gets aware that Abigail and Nick is returning students, and not even 5 days later, the superintendent kicked Abigail and Nicholas out.
So why'd they kick them out?
They're saying that they kicked them out. I'm not allowed to discuss that.
Okay, so now you keep saying you're not allowed to discuss some things. So y'all have actually went ahead and now you have legal representation, correct?
We do.
Okay. had it been handled previously, is that a thing that y'all would have done?
Never.
Never.
I didn't speak out about any of these issues until I realized that they're literally not doing nothing.
Yeah.
I've gave you more than enough time to handle it.
Yeah.
If it was your son or
You'd
your
be
daughter,
angry. You'd be angry.
handled immediately.
It'd be so fast.
But I've gave them time to handle it. They didn't want to handle it. So now that they've really they went too far, so now we're gonna get it handled.
That's awesome. So we can't really ask what's going to happen as far as that. Someone's saying I'm going to get a civil suit for having y'all on here to talk about this, like you weren't on the news last night. Tiffany and Brad, they were literally on the news yesterday. So we're just having the same conversation they did, and I don't think the news is going to get sued over it. But if we don't talk about it, nobody will.
I was told by several legal representatives that I can speak out.
Yeah,
I
it's
can.
normal. This happened. This is what happened. What should we say? They were at the place and the thing happened. It doesn't work like that, guys.
Now I was told when I first started going out with this, several family members and friends started adding me on Facebook.
Now I was going to ask that. What has the public reception been like, especially with some of the parents? Go ahead.
I got a friend request from a lady. She is related to the principal. I have it on my phone.
Sorry, 1 second. Hello.
Hey, you're on here. You just read my comment. I am Tiffany.
Yes.
My issue is I understand parents have the right to be upset. This is upset.
Yes.
However, she is posting crucial information about the school all over Facebook, all over TikTok. On TikTok, she has quite a few followers.
What is the crucial
Who are we to say
What's the
that somebody off?
though?
She's putting the name all over there.
The
They can
school?
find that
The name of the
online.
school?
It's
And
public
all
record.
somebody's got to do is go to Fort Payne Middle School, and it pulls up the address and everything else.
Yeah, but I mean, you
Do
can
you
do
not
that with
see that that's
Sylvania
putting
Middle School.
everybody at risk? And she keeps hashtagging
can do that with-
student
you can do
shooting,
that.
shooting.
Well,
There
Someone
has
got
been no
shot.
shooting at the school.
But a kid was threatened for sure.
That's
kid
what
If
was
he was
threatened.
threatened,
But he was threatened for sure, undoubtedly. But I mean, you can put Sylvania Middle School on the, on Google, and you can find Sylvania.
He was threatened while he was in the custody of these people.
Hello.
I mean, just last year, she was sitting around bragging that she was cousins with Brian Jett.
Well, I mean, were they friends
And that
then?
Brian Jett would not tell her that she could not pull into Little Ridge at a certain time.
I don't know what.
So
Little
if
Ridge
last
is.
year he was a cousin, this year he's not, then
Touch
how
base
much of
on
a
it.
truth is to her story?
I would like to see proof of that.
Ma'am, I was sitting in the parking lot when you said it.
What is LittleRidge?
It's our son's
It's another
school where he
school
picks up
But
our
see,
in Fort
children most
Payne.
of the
So
time.
to that, you just said the name of a school. You just said the name of a school. You
Yeah, I did. But
Now
I'm not
people
on
can-
TikTok
You are right
posting
now.
the comment
You're
Yes.
live on the
back and
internet right
forth,
now.
back and forth, back and forth.
You're live on the
Every
internet
other
right now,
comment,
Tiffany.
she
She's
is
allowed to do
messaging
that.
people telling them this school. All she is trying to do is get public attention.
Okay.
for something
It
that
should
happened.
have public attention.
That is
My
your
son's life
that's your
matters.
perspective. That's
Your son's
opinion.
life does matter, but everybody's does.
You're exactly right. I stand behind you on that statement,
But
100%.
when the kid was threatened, why do you think nothing was done, Tiffany? Why do you think we're here 6 months, 4 months, 5 months later, nothing's been done? No one's got in trouble. No one's even got a paddling. No one's even got, a couple of days suspension. Why is it that way?
No, I don't work in the school system, but I can't tell you that. But in her video with Principal Bird that she posted, every time he tried to say something, she cut him off. So yeah, if I was him, I would have got irritated at her as well. You cannot have a civil conversation with somebody when your child is at risk if you're not going to allow them to speak.
Would you like to respond?
No
Sorry, to
mother
what?
is going to be calm during that matter. I was not irrational. He was laughing at my concerns, so I handled it the best way I knew how.
Angry. Tiffany?
Well, I mean, another thing that we don't understand as some of the parents that have watched these videos, because it is concerning.
For sure.
If this happened at the first school, which is an elementary school,
Yes.
why would you go to the middle school to complain?
I have a great answer for that. So when I found out about the threat, I was advised by the director of transportation. She was sending the video to the middle school because that is where the child that made the threat was located. And that's why I was advised to go see the video, because I have seen video footage prior to this when the bus driver when the superintendent showed me video footage of the bus driver spanking my son. So I didn't think it would be any different to show me the video footage. If they did then, they will now. So that was where I was directed to go.
Okay, you said the bus driver spanked your son
Yes, the superintendent
on
showed
camera,
us. Yeah, the superintendent showed us the video.
and you didn't retaliate against that for somebody putting their hands on your child?
Absolutely.
Where's the outrage on that?
We seek legal attention on that.
What should they have done? What would you have done, Tiffany?
Well, I mean, of course, I would have went through the proper steps to communicate with somebody about the issues that were going on.
So that's what they're doing. I think a much bigger, like, yes, it's terrible that the kid got whooped on the butt, but I would say between getting whooped on the butt and being threatened to be shot, I'd say there's miles and miles and miles of difference on that.
And
They-
I'm not
can't-
disagreeing with you
they
on that.
can't, they can't just go fight the bus driver. You know, I'm gonna get now. Some people would. I probably would. I've got friends that would. Everybody ain't just gonna go fight the bus driver. I'm not saying that you wouldn't fight the bus driver, Tiffany. I'm just gonna assume that wouldn't be your first choice of action.
No, and I never said that. My only concern is, you know, she has every right to post her remarks, you know, her side of the story, her, you know, her as a mom, her concerns.
Mhm.
But when she is constantly posting information about the school where everybody goes to, you have to see where that raises a risk.
Oh,
And
sure.
I'm not saying that she would do this, not by any means, but we do not know who follows her. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a friend of hers to follow her.
Yeah.
You can watch that video. And if, say, somebody did have a bad childhood that had a, you know, bad school life, they're going to see this and they're going to think, oh, I could go get justice for this kid. And in return, they're not doing justice. They're causing more harm to everybody else.
I don't think that would be what happens. I mean, she was on the news yesterday. Everyone that watches the news probably isn't her friend. Most people are getting their news on the internet nowadays. And like you said, like she said, you know, she was reaching out and trying to get something done about it, and literally nothing happened. That's the beauty of it. When I was working and killing bugs and stuff, my boss said, he said, everyone has a camera now. Everybody can record. Everybody's a journalist. And now she's just putting it out there. And now because she put it out there, at least she's getting some help. At least there's some attention. You called in. There's tons of other people saying stuff. At least something.
I know my only concern is, and along with other parents that have spoke to me about this situation, we are not happy with the fact that her child was threatened to be shot. No child should ever have to hear those
No.
words.
I agree.
Agreed.
Okay, my only concern is other children in that school are now having a risk every day that they go to school, because, I mean, you're posting the name all over. All somebody has to do is Google that name, and that's going to give them address.
Oh,
Is
sure.
it not?
Yeah, but that's
Yes,
any school.
okay.
But if the
So-
school's not doing anything for that, then really, and let's say something crazy did happen at that school. Let's say there's no repercussions for threatening to shoot people, right? There's no repercussions for that, for sure. Zero, right? Then I think that's actually much worse than saying, hey, my son was threatened to be shot. If the school's not going to do anything about it, you know, if they're not going to say, hey, that's unacceptable here, you know, and that's why my kids homeschool, because I know things happen like that. They're going to sit there and let my kids get threatened, maybe because they don't play sports, maybe because they don't do this, maybe because they ain't got the best grades, maybe because their daddy don't have a really good last name. And I don't think that's an okay way to do it. If the thing is, oh man, people might get threatened because now there's attention, it should have been handled a long time ago, you know.
Okay, so hold on. So now you're saying that since her situation did not get handled correctly, that is more important, and that we should not be concerned if somebody does come to that school, one of the followers that she is posting all these videos to comes to the school to try to cause harm to the school.
No, that's not okay at all. We're saying if they're allowing it to happen, if they're not doing anything to stop that from happening and showing that it's totally unacceptable, then if anything like that did happen in the world, that's really on the school system. They have to nip things like this in the butt. You can't just act like this is okay, because it's not okay.
No, and it's not okay, but
Yeah.
they have tried to nip this in the butt.
They haven't.
She posted these videos last week on Facebook, and where were they? They got pulled, and then she started posting on TikTok. Now she's having other people to share them on Facebook again.
I got
So
harassed by the family and friends of some school officials, and so I had no other choice but to remove that. And
so because
then
you're being harassed, because you're
after
being
I got it
harassed, you can pull
touched,
your videos because you were feeling threatened. But
no,
yet you're not
they
going to pull
was
your videos because everybody else is being threatened.
Now,
This
nobody's being
seems like a
threatened.
one-sided.
Nobody's
I
being
think that
threatened.
I thought we lived in an area where kids didn't really get threatened like that. And she keeps saying like, "Oh, this might happen, this might happen." I think that's the furthest from the thing that's going to happen. But again, I believed that we lived in an area where threats to kids with guns don't happen. That's what I thought was going on. That's the area I thought I lived in. I know now that's not a fact because that is threatened. I was bullied growing up. I had a guy. We're friends now, but like he threatened to stab me with a pencil if I didn't give him my money. You know, it was a
Wow.
lot of stuff. Now I was bullied a lot. More often than not, nothing was done. I think. I think if. I think if they're going to sit there and let people threaten to shoot each other, then there is going to get some attention brought to that because that's a problem. That's a real thing that we have to deal with and should be brought attention to. And if people were really worried about kids getting hurt and shot, etc., at a school, if they were worried about that, the minute this was said, that would have been handled.
Right.
Absolutely.
Tiffany,
Most definitely.
I appreciate you calling in so much. You have a good day.
I've got an appointment this week with Brian
Yes.
Jett. So if you want me to post
What?
those videos on how to properly
Yes, please do.
communicate with
Please
somebody,
post
you know,
those.
maybe she could learn something.
Please
Yes.
post those so much. And thank you so much for your time. It's so awesome that you called in. We really, really do appreciate that. You've been great. We really appreciate your time. You have a good day, okay?
What is the number to call in?
256-601-9067.
Okay.
If they were
Um,
truly worried about a kid being attacked, being hurt, if they were truly, truly worried about the kids being attacked and being hurt, that's the argument. She'll try to make it sound like I'm saying it's okay if someone gets shot, and it's entirely not.
No.
I took my kids out of school because if something like that was to happen, I would be up 1 second, please. 1 second, 1 second, just 1 second. I would be so entirely upset and angry and unable to be calmed that I would handle business. Those are my children. I'm not even going to have that as a risk. But if they're truly, truly worried about kids getting hurt, kids getting shot, right, then they would call, right, and something would be done quick.
Immediately.
It's not a worry.
Yeah, and it
They're
wouldn't
not
take
worried about that.
months.
It
And
wouldn't have took 6 months.
She posted, she made the comment that I posted it on Facebook and it got
1
took
second.
down. And
Yeah.
that wasn't even the case. I posted it on Facebook and I started getting like literally
Like
threatened,
hate threats.
harassed. Like it was bad.
It's
And
crazy.
so it got reported and that's why it was took down.
That's awful.
But then I reached out to a lawyer. When I reached out to a lawyer, they said that, you know, I have freedom of speech. Like,
And you do.
what are they going to say?
You
Oh my God,
do.
you spoke out because your child was threatened to be shot.
I would have
Yeah,
handled
that-
things much different than y'all. I'm a much angrier person than that. You're on the Alabama Grapevine. You're on No Smoking. You're on a whole lot of stuff with Sam McAlpin and my friends, Rachel and Johnny Kyles. Go ahead and say what you'd like to say.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that I'm sorry that this has happened because it's not a good thing to know that this is going on in our community.
She must
And
be mama.
I'm sorry that this has happened. Secondly, I just want to ask, you said last night when you were on live that you had not reached out to an attorney. So as of this morning, you've reached out to one, or?
We have been in contact with several attorneys, but I have been asked not to comment on that by the advocate.
Okay. Because from what we understood last night, you had not. So since you have, that's good. That's mainly, I think, what the community is wanting to know is if you truly had, because there was some discrepancy in that. But there is aid out there available for you to do that.
Okay, the caller should be able to.
It's-
1 second, please. I mean, they could hear the lady earlier. They heard the last lady. They heard Tiffany.
Is it like, can you hear it without the earphones?
Yeah. No, they heard Tiffany on here.
No, not that on this.
Can
It's not, this
you-
is something completely different now.
You're saying y'all don't hear her.
No, the people on this live don't.
Oh, now they
can't.
wouldn't.
Okay.
No, they will. As long as they're on my live, they'll hear it.
Okay.
You're on the Alabama Grapevine, No Smoking. Go ahead, bud.
I was just calling. I just want to say to the Tiffany girl, she needs to quit trying to pick an argument with the parent. This is about the children, not the parent. And it seems to me like she's more in favor for how the school is going to look versus the kids' safety.
Man, I appreciate you calling
Unfortunately.
in. Thank you so
Agreed.
much. Cool. Hey, so there's some people that are saying you're wrong. There's some people that are really dogging Tiffany. I appreciate Tiffany calling in. I thought it was cool. She was very passionate about what she was saying. Someone said she sounds like a booster for the school. I don't think that she's probably a booster for the school, but it made me laugh. It was funny. It was like, okay,
Yeah, maybe
yeah,
that's her honest opinion. You know,
and y'all,
I mean,
yeah, and like y'all do have a lot of viewers on here right now. So, like you were saying a while ago, you said the minute you started posting about it to bring attention to it, you started getting threatened, messages and stuff like that. Tell us kind of about some of that without going too far in detail that you can't say. It.
Okay, so I will try to touch base on it without putting some things out there. I got threats made to me, and they had threatened to do charges and stuff, and then that's when I got feared because how are you gonna punish me for advocating for my son? Like how
Yeah.
are you gonna do that? So then I had no other choice but to be shut down and be silenced again. And then when I reached out to some legal representatives, that's when I learned that I can most definitely talk about what has happened with my son.
100%. That's your right.
I'm not breaking any laws. I'm not.
If no one else
doing
is,
anything.
if no one else is going to talk about it, you are. It's an inalienable right. I don't know which one it is, but it's an inalienable right to have the freedom of speech, and and also a pursuit of happiness. You know, and kids 100% should be able to go to a school without being told, "Hey, I'm going to shoot you," and then if they're told that, they should also know, "Oh, okay, something really bad happened because of that." And I'm not saying ruin some kid's life. I'm not saying lock them up in boot camp or jail. But that kid didn't even get his butt
right?
busted.
He needed something. I'm sorry,
You're good.
something done. You know, something for that child to be held accountable for. You know, the
Yeah.
school make an action plan or something
Yeah,
like that.
something.
You know,
didn't even get a whooping.
right.
Wasn't reported to the news. Now again, with my stuff, I was in the newspaper. It said youth. It said underage. You know, it said 15-year-old kid. You know, and I got in trouble, and I did 90 days in like a kid boot camp jail thing. But again, I was a kid, different time. But my stuff was in the news. By the end of the day, bam, they had me. By the end of the month, I was in kid jail, man. I was like, oh, okay. And but for this one, nothing happened. He didn't even get a butt whooping. Mama and daddy they probably know now. But you know, the fact that the kid's saying like that, you have to wonder how much the parents are really disciplining the kid, and like if they do know, if they've whooped him, if they've handled it at home, which is we hope so. We hope that's the kind of people they are. But a lot of people are going to think their kids don't. Emily Thomas said, "So what happened to the person who said this?" Emily, nothing has happened. As far as we're aware, nothing has happened by the school board, by the parents. We wouldn't know. We don't talk to them, things like that. So now, y'all son didn't actually tell you? Your daughter did.
So she was the first one that got to us. She was like, Mom, Nick was threatened to be shot. And Nick, he's a sensitive person. I am too. So when he told me, he was choked up on his words, crying, hyperventilating. He was freaked out.
Oh yeah. And who were y'all like, man, it's great seeing my kid like this?
No.
Yeah, that's kind of an anger, right? That you don't really get to feel often. Go ahead, we're listening.
I think as any mom, when you see your child distraught, you're going to be distraught too.
Yeah.
At least I am.
Yeah,
like
me.
when my kids are upset, like I'm upset. Those are my kids.
Yeah, that's our babies. So after she told you, what was the immediate reaction? What was the plan moving forward?
I immediately took action and notified the people that needed to be notified.
So you didn't TikTok and Facebook first?
No.
Okay.
But
That seems to be the misconception.
No.
Okay.
I took the action that needed to be taken. Sorry, I'm reading these comments too. I took the action that needed to be taken, and when I did, I got laughed at by a principal that we're supposed to trust our children with.
Yeah.
Make that make sense to me, please.
Yeah.
How do you laugh at a child being threatened to be shot? How do you say it's not an emergency? There was just 2 shootings in Fort Payne.
Yep.
2.
Yep.
Within the last 30 days.
Back to back. Someone asked, did you report it to the sheriff's department?
I've reported it to everywhere.
So what did the sheriff's department say? Like the DeKalb County Sheriff's Department?
When we did a report, we was told that it would be sent to the juvenile, and that juvenile would pick this up and handle
And
it.
when was that?
That was when the threat happened.
Oh, it was right after.
Yes.
So we should call the sheriff's department and ask, hey, what's being done about this? Because have y'all heard from them since? Or
I was told I can't go into detail about that.
okay, all right. I
She was
like.
asking me to
I understand.
stay away from those things.
Okay, yeah, I understand. I feel like the sheriff's department, right? Someone told me yesterday. They said I only ever post negative about the sheriff's department, and I'm not.
I love the sheriff's department. Nick
there-
is amazing.
There's so many good cops up there. There really is. I'm not super pro police all the time, right? I'm not a blue line guy, right? I understand there's good cops. I understand there's bad cops. Just like I understand there's good people and there's bad people. But as far as like posting something negative, I do think they should do something really, really good about that. And I think that'd be the most positive thing that they could do in the areas is nipping that in the bud. That should be taken care of very soon.
Oh, I have no doubt that now I have a child advocate. She is with Special Education Advocacy.
Yeah.
I can't even talk today. Associates.
You're on the Alabama Grapevine and no smoking. Go ahead.
I'm watching you guys live,
Thank you.
and I just want to let Rachel and Johnny know that you guys are supported. I've been in your shoes. I no longer live in Alabama, though, but my children are Macarats, and their name alone is crazy. So I've been in your shoes with my son. My son used to live in Fort Payne. He went to Fort Payne Middle. The same thing happened, and nothing happened.
See
So
what I
I've been
mean?
there.
See what I mean?
So I'm proud of you guys for speaking out because at the time my son went to Fort Payne Middle, we didn't have all of this. We didn't have social media. We didn't have anything like that.
Just word of mouth at the time.
Word of mouth.
Yep.
And of course, with my son being a Macarat, nothing happened. And if you guys know anything about that last name,
Oh yeah,
whew,
I
I know.
We're kin to them through my husband.
I know plenty of good
exactly, I
Macarats.
know.
I've
I
grown up
know.
with some Macarats in my time.
I seen the last name Kyle's, and I was like, he has to know the Macarats.
Okay.
do.
So I fully support you guys. I will stand behind you. Rachel, I am going to send you a friend request. You have your followers on TikTok. You say what you need to say. I'm on TikTok as well. I will support you wholeheartedly. Continue to fight for your children because if don't anybody stand up for your kids, you guys have to. And that's all you're allowed to do. You don't owe explanation to anybody. You fight for your children.
Absolutely.
Ain't nobody else gonna do it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for calling in.
You're welcome.
You have a great day. Thank you.
Hmm?
She was sweet. She was.
That
I
was
grew up
very
with
sweet.
Macarats. What all Where are you related to Macarats from? Any in around Ider?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so.
Don't-
The ones that I'm related to are more towards Collinsville. So
Okay, cool. I've grown up with some good ones. I've known a lot of them, or at least a couple over the years. Emily Thomas said I went to Fort Payne Middle and they handled bullying and stuff like this. What has happened? So she's wondering why things aren't, getting done. We ended up with so long term, right? We're sitting here talking. What do y'all think? What's good end game? What's a good end game?
Things have just been taken way too far with this. They have, I don't know if I'm allowed to speak on it, but I will speak around it. My son is on IEP, and his IEP has been taken away from him. So my end goal is to make it a safe environment for our children. If your principal cannot take a gun threat serious, does he need to be in that position?
No, not at all.
Like, if a superintendent cannot take the concern serious, hear a parent out, watch the videos, hear us as parents, we are upset our children was threatened to be shot. If he can't take that serious, these men does not need to be in the positions that they're in.
Undoubtedly.
We have reached out to the school board. We've sent 6 or 7 emails, not heard anything
We
back.
also called for a quote. The lady that answered the phone knew me and was very polite. I didn't get a call back for that quote. I didn't get no quote. Go ahead, I'm listening.
I was reached out by an attorney on a 3-way call with the Fort Payne Middle School, and they proceeded to let me know that I'm ridiculous for getting this out there, and that there's nobody above the superintendent that I can go to.
Yeah, okay. Right. Yeah. Sounds
Oh,
right.
that's crazy.
That sounds right.
No.
Man. That sounds good. Well, we're gonna call the cops now.
So
I'm gonna call Mr. Weld and be like, sir, look, this is insane. Go ahead. We're listening.
So when they took, when he told me that, I was like, "Isn't the school board over the superintendent?" And I said, "I've emailed them 6 or 7 times." He said, "The school board isn't getting involved." And I was like, "Okay, well, I've waited. I've gave y'all more than enough time
Yeah,
to
what
handle
can I
it."
do now?
Yeah.
Right, it was
So
Nothing's gonna happen.
Predetermined
that's
decisions.
all I needed to hear. So I took it into my own hands, and it's gonna get handled.
So I was bullied while we're on here, while we've got the viewers and stuff. I was bullied a ton growing up, a lot, like a lot, way too much than I should have been. Like to the point where 2 kids one time we was at the skating rink. These girls, and I remember I see them around. I don't say anything because I'm not like a bad person. I try not to be. But they told me, they said you should just kill yourself. Right?
Oh my God.
No, I remember that. It's okay. But
Man, that is great.
I remember it clear as day. They skated by me and said it. And I remember, I don't think about it often, but with this situation, I do. Now, after I grew up and I got out of, I did my trouble and stuff, it's a cycle. I started bullying people some too, you know what I mean? And I didn't tell people they should kill themselves. I didn't go that far, but I did some bullying too. It's a terrible cycle that's not really nipped in the bud. And then just from people on here commenting, one lady, Sierra Spangler, said she got her head slammed on the lockers and got a concussion. Was told she was lying, even though she went to the doctor and had the papers in front of their face. She's had a whole lot more. There's a whole lot more comments just like that.
Wow.
Give me just 1 second. We'll turn the volume up. 1 second, okay? Thank you for calling in. And there's a whole lot more comments with people saying they were bullied and things like that. And it's not okay. It really should be handled a lot better. Parents should raise their kids better. The bullying should be nipped in the bud. And just publicly, I'm sorry to every single person that I bullied in my life, because it was just a terrible way to handle things. 1 second. You're on the Alabama Grapevine and no smoking. Go. Oh, 1 second. Hang on. We've got someone on the other line. Give me 1 second. You're on the Alabama Grapevine, no smoking. Go ahead.
Yes, I saw this when Ray Ray was on yesterday and was telling what happened. She was so calm. I totally wouldn't have been that calm. But what if this had turned into a Uvalde or another big school situation? She avoided something. Who's to say that kid was not serious? We don't know what that child was thinking, and she is absolutely right in everything that she is doing. And I want to tell you something. As a former newspaper owner, it was a small newspaper. But if she'll reach out to 2 or 3 major newspapers, this will get resolved because they don't want the publicity.
No, not
We
at all.
have
And-
reached out to Times Journal, and I reached out to Southern Torch. Can't hear
You
anything
want
back.
So Times
you
Journal and
want
Southern Torch said no.
They wouldn't
you
call me
want
back.
Oh, okay.
you want to reach out to the biggest newspaper in Oklahoma, because Oklahoma has done some things, made some changes lately. Any big newspaper, if you can get your story in 3 big newspapers, this will be taken care of legally. I know this for a fact because this woman is right, and her child could have been in serious danger, as well as the whole school. And these people that are calling from the school and not taking this seriously, they're wrong. If the shoe was on the other foot this morning and this would have been a tragedy, she wouldn't be hearing the things that she's hearing. They would all be behind her. This woman is a hero.
And if it was their kids, they'd be angry as well.
They would be angry, and this could have developed into something really bad, has it not before?
Yes, ma'am. Hey, thank you so much for calling in. You have a great
You
day.
you hang in there, Ray Ray.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. No smoking. No smoking. Alabama Grapevine. Go ahead. Thank you for calling in.
I just want to reach out and say that this isn't the first time that anything like this has happened, but you're the first parent to stick up and say something. I have been talking to several parents since this has all come to light, and a lot of people are happy that this is going on, and they're scared of retaliation, and they never spoke up about it. we have personally dealt with this with my child. She was threatened to be stabbed to death in school, at that school, and some other kid told the same girl told her that she wouldn't live to see next school year, and nothing was ever done about it. We removed our kids from that school system, but I still have a lot of friends that are in that school system. So you're speaking up, you're doing right by your kid, but a lot of this has happened a lot, and people haven't spoke on it for that reason.
Yes, ma'am. That's awful to hear, and I really appreciate you calling in. And I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you. Take care of yourself. Have a good day.
I will be right back.
Yes, ma'am. So what was your first reaction when you heard this? It's your kid. It's your son. I never had a son. I had 4 daughters, right? So I'd be very angry if it was them. But you got to have some kind of cool bond with your son. What was your first reaction?
My first reaction was is that obviously I know there's some kids out there that may um, present that kind of behavior. And when he told us, my first initial reaction was like, "Oh man, this kid's just talking."
Yeah.
But my wife, definitely made me aware that this could be something more serious.
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking, I was like, well, there is a lot of shootings that have happened.
Yes,
So
there
I'm
is.
like, well, we should take it serious.
For sure.
Because you always want to believe your kid.
Yeah.
You don't believe anybody else over your kid.
Not at all. Now, and I don't think any kid's life should be ruined. Kids saying silly things. Now, that's a very serious, silly thing to say, right? That's pretty out there. Like the way I was threatened and stuff as a kid. And like, I'll tell you, like, I just don't think it should be acceptable for even a second. Uh, and I just hate that it kind of has been, and it is for a long time. Bullying's a normal thing around here. It does happen all the time.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But that's a little different than, hey, I'm gonna rough you up in the parking lot. Like
Right,
I've been
yeah,
beat up
that's
at school.
threatening somebody's life.
Yeah, that's ending
totally different.
that's ending a life, and I think that's a real problem. I remember one time, and me and this guy buddies now. He's actually came to me, apologized, hugged my neck and stuff. You can make things right. Everything can get made right.
Absolutely.
We're
I
not
agree.
saying take someone's life and change it for the whole worse. But we got off the school bus one day at the daycare, and this cat walked up to me. He was like a long time bully for me, man, real long time. And he walked up to me, man. He popped me in my nose. Wham! I started bleeding everywhere. I wasn't fighting him. He just hit me, man. And the teacher at the daycare, she snatched him up and held him. She said, "You hit him now."
Huh.
And I said, "Well, nah, it ain't gonna do no good. He'll just beat me up later, you know." And so I didn't do it. Years went by, man, and me and him's had we kind of ended up at the same place, and we got a little work together, you know. And he came to my house
Yep.
one day. We was having like a little a music thing, and he told me, he took me to the side, and he told me kind of like what his upbringing was like and how sorry he was for what he had done and stuff like that. Gave him a big old hug. So you can make things right, but like if you're not taking the initiative to make things right, then I think that's a big deal. So again, you wouldn't have even put anything on the internet if something was being done.
If something would have been done about this, only me and the school would have been aware.
Yeah.
It would have stayed between me, the school, and we could have handled it. But because it's not, and I gave them plenty of time, I told them, I'm like, if you don't handle it, I will handle it myself.
Yeah.
And so they knew.
And that's
they
not a
just
threat.
didn't
That's
care.
just, this is what I'll do. I'll do something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I went into more detail, of course. I told them, I was like, if you don't handle it, I'm going to blast all these videos. I'm going to get justice for Nicholas.
Yeah.
And all the other children that's been threatened to be shot. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
People
are asking how to see the videos other than TikTok. I do think you should put them back up on Facebook just so they get to play. And there's going to be people like, oh, you shouldn't you're doing that. Just do it anyway. Stay out of the comment section. They ain't going to have nothing positive to say. Some of them will. Some of them will have really positive stuff to say. Plenty of people's going to be on your side. Plenty of people also ain't.
Yeah.
It's funny because like my voice, my ringtone is like the Grand Theft Auto scene.
I noticed
Yeah,
that.
I didn't think about it for this. No smoking Alabama grapevine. Go ahead. Thank you for calling in.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you for calling in.
Hey, I'm calling in because I am outraged. Little Nicholas is my nephew, and he is the most sweetest soul. And it's not just about Nicholas. This is about all the kids everywhere. You just can't make threats like this in this day and age. There is school shootings going around everywhere. It's not just here. You never know it's going to be your kid until it's your kid.
Agreed.
And For them to sit there and say your son is not in no danger, how do they know that? With all the school shootings and all the evil in the world these days, how do they know that he is not in no danger?
That's a great question. I think for you to sit there and say no one's in danger when they were threatened, you don't know how long before it's said again, and then how long before it's a bigger issue.
Exactly.
And even if
Exactly.
even
all
if that was just a threat, and then all of a sudden that boy is beating up Nicholas or something, that's still
That's
bad.
just
That's
bad.
still not
all
acceptable.
the exactly, and all these other schools that has actually had shootings never would have guessed that they're going. That these parents are going to school, sending their kids to school, and hoping that these teachers are going to protect their kids. They never know when they send those babies to school that there's going to be a school shooting until it happens.
Someone said this happened to my son, and he was shot and killed a year later
That's awful.
on TikTok. Her name's
Awful.
Alina.
Awful.
Exactly. You
Sorry
never
about that.
know that it's going to happen until it happens.
Bullying threats like this, all of this should be nipped in the bud. Shouldn't be allowed. Shouldn't even seem like it's being allowed.
When does a threat have to be taken serious? Is that when a child is actually shot? Would it be taken serious at that point? If I'm able to nip it in the bud before it gets to that point,
And you did try. It ain't like you just went, I want to go on TikTok and Facebook. You said, hey, please,
This
let's
has
get this
been
fixed.
going on since October. This should not have had to make it this far. The school system should have done something as soon as it was reported.
Amen.
I've asked to see paperwork. I've asked to see anything that they can give me that it's being investigated, taken care of. Nobody just don't want to give nothing.
I understand.
I just keep
This
being
wouldn't
told
even been taken this far if they would have handled it back in October when it was first aware.
I agree. I think I'd feel the same way. But what do you think? What do you think should happen moving forward? What do you think should be the outcome? Because there has to be an outcome. There has to be something happen. What do you think should happen? I can't ask Rachel and Johnny that because they're in a different boat. What do you think would be an okay outcome to get this fixed?
I think the principal and the superintendent should be held accountable for them just to passing it off as it was nothing. If this was their kid and they was in this situation, would they just pass it off like it was nothing? No, they wouldn't. They would be doing every step possible to get that kid out of that school.
You're preaching. You're preaching at that point. So I think that's fair. Something should be done to those two.
Because
But
if it was their kid, what would they do?
they'd be angry. A kid would be expelled and suspended. And we're not. I don't want a kid's life ruined, but that cannot be allowed to be said. 100%. I think the people that really dropped the ball was the principal and superintendent, and I think something should be done there.
And I've tried contacting the school board.
No, they have the policy. They have a policy at this school saying no child left behind, but they are sitting there and leaving the children behind.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Because they are not protecting and serving these children like they are supposed to do.
Yes, ma'am. My kids homeschool now. I feel such a sense of relief knowing where my kids are, knowing my kids are with my wife. Uh, it's such a relief for me, and I'm happy that we got to take them out. Hey, thank you so much for calling in. You have a great day.
Too.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hey guys, if y'all wanting to call in, the number is 256-601-9067.
April Turner said she's telling the truth about the school system. It's a joke. They do laugh at you and think they are above the law. The superintendent is also behind it. It's about time someone took a stand against them. I wish I'd done more for mine years ago. I didn't know what to do, so I pulled him and homeschooled him for the last 4 years. He didn't go back. She is telling the truth. Brandy Marie said get the state superintendent involved. Someone tagged Kay Ivey, the governor. April Turner said, I don't even know her. So glad you are taking a stand. There's tons of comments just like that. There's a couple of negative ones. We ain't reading them.
We're not worried about
them.
the negative comments. The haters can.
Yeah, we ain't reading them. If it was their kid, they'd be angry. And I think that's really entirely what it boils down to.
You only want positivity.
Yeah. There's so much good. Someone said, what school did this happen? It was at Fort Payne Middle School. Teresina Coker said, please tell me who is on the school board. Who is those? Who is the superintendent anyway?
I know it's on the website, but Brian Jett is the superintendent.
Brian Jett is the superintendent if you'd like to reach out.
But Brian Jett said he is the school board, so y'all might want to be aware of that. I don't know how this works, but when he said that, I felt completely helpless. Like, who do I go to now?
Yeah, and they said you can't go any higher.
Yeah, they said I've exhausted my options.
They didn't want no attention on it, is what
At
it was.
all.
That don't happen here. This place is perfect, man. It's a good school. Well, now we know there's plenty of good things about it, but y'all are allowing a kid to be threatened. Y'all like my southern accent? I can turn it on, man.
I know some of these mamas that's caught in are from the South. You can tell by their
Oh no, and I'm not
by their
making fun of them.
accent.
I'm talking
no,
about
no,
yeah,
not
at all.
them. But I'm saying like you can just tell because some of us Southern mamas just have an accent.
Oh yeah, now I'm from here too. I got a little redneck in me. I tell my wife sometimes. I said I got. I'll hear me. I like like when I'm mowing and stuff. I'll be listening to like George Jones and like prop me up beside the jukebox when I die and things like that. Man, I get fired up. And I told I get fired up when I'm mowing. And I told my wife, I said, I'm pretty sure it's that white trash in my veins. And she's like, oh, no. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. I get fired up by that. I don't really listen to like
Someone
heavy
said
metal or nothing.
Someone said our principal would take that super serious.
And they should. And they should. And there's tons of people on here. It's all just good. And then some April Turner said they all back each other in this town. They're a joke. Jen Hanner said, just like everywhere else, it depends on who you are, whether or not they take anything serious and it's messed up. You stand up and you'll have a group of bully parents rally against you. Justin Wilbanks, good friend of mine, said fire him. Sheila McKinney said, just wondering about the timeline. That's horrible that it wasn't handled then. And I agree wholeheartedly. Chad Wooten, I had a problem with a substitute taking pictures of my child and sending them to a family member that are not allowed around my kids.
Oh, my word.
The school took care of the situation very well. Always protect the children. So they did handle that situation. He's just saying it should always be handled like that. Guys, that's about my time for the day. We can keep going for a little longer, but just we usually do about an hour, and we've smashed that. I don't want to feel like I've missed anything, or if there's something y'all want to say and I didn't get to it, anything like that, feel free to be thinking on that for a second. Susan Miller said Brian Jett is also the area board rep for the AHSAA. So anything that happens sport-wise is covered up also. I know she's got to go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying I didn't even know that.
Yeah, now she's got a pretty insane story that I would like to hear her tell. That she was going to be a guest this morning. She had some stuff come up, but I want to hear that story too. Natalie Rowlands asked what's the timeline, but you'll just have Chad Wooten said the video needs to be put back on Facebook so we can see it. I think that's probably smart.
But if the videos all go back on Facebook, like the minute the video wasn't even at 15 minutes, and I got a friend request from a woman named Miss Bird.
Ooh, Miss Bird, who? What's first name?
Am I allowed to say?
Yes, I don't see. She added you and was talking mess to you.
No, she never messaged me. She just sent me a friend request.
Okay.
But let me ask if I can say who it was. But I will tell you that her last name is Miss Bird.
Oh.
And she sent me a friend request, and then when I went to view her account, she immediately revoked it. But she didn't revoke it before I could screenshot it.
There you go. If someone, I would post it 100,000,000% because again, Facebook's free. That's free advertisement. That's free word out. That's free everything. Facebook can help you so much on just getting the word out on stuff. I built a company off Facebook, and I'm very proud of the company that we did build at the time. I'm proud of this. This is all on Facebook, YouTube, stuff like that. All free platforms, man. Free. It's a platform for you to use appropriately, you hope. And I think this is an appropriate time to use it. But what was I saying? I was getting somewhere with that. But yeah, put them back on there, and then if people start messaging you and harassing you, loser, how dare you take up for your kid that was all this?
I know.
Block them.
It's ridiculous.
And I just wouldn't even read the comments. Your phone's gonna go ding 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 for a while. Just don't read it. Whatever, cool. And then at some point, you can put publicly, thank y'all so much for the positive comments. You ain't got to read all those. There's bad people in the world that don't want you to have no good. There's people around here stuck on a status quo that don't want to change, right? They don't want anything to get different. And fine, it's cool.
Everybody's telling me to go to the news stations and stuff.
Yes.
We had an interview with Way 31 yesterday.
Yeah, I'm listening.
But we've tried to contact Times Journal and Southern Torch.
So I was going to ask, someone said contact Times Journal and Southern Torch. You did reach out.
I spoke to Donna at Times Journal.
Okay, and they just said what?
I was supposed to get a call back and never heard nothing else.
Did you call the Southern Torch?
I have tagged them and everything, but Times Journal is in cahoots with.
Yeah, well, they're owned by the Southern Torch now.
So like they're practically the same thing.
Yeah.
So I called like 3 times before I ever could get anybody on the phone, and then when
Okay.
I did, that's when it was. That's when she said she'd call me back. I never heard nothing else. But people on here are
Man.
saying file a do a. Let me read it.
Whisper,
File
please.
a dual process.
Process.
And pretty much have an IEP meeting. I can't go into detail what we are doing, but I can tell you that we are taking the steps and this is being handled immediately.
Yes, ma'am. Someone said call WAFF. Someone tagged Brad Travis at WAFF. Someone tagged Clarion and Scottsboro on the Daily Sentinel. It is weird to me that the Southern Torch didn't reach back out, especially considering like the amount of attention that you're getting and things like that. I would think they would want that to be a positive thing. I think they would want it to change also, but also, so like in the past, we kind of did we had a petition going around when I was trying to make. I used to put like the AFC on and fights and stuff in the state, and we was trying to get a petition going around to make it easier for us to do work. And so I asked them if they would share it around. And they wasn't going to do that. Well, why not? Come on, help me out. And they just wouldn't do it. And I understand kind of why, because they do politic a little. But as far as this goes, unless they're just friends with Mr. Is it Jet?
That
It's a
honestly, that's my opinion. I feel like
Yeah.
that they are backing them,
Yeah.
so they're not going to make
Yeah, if
their
they're
school system
yeah.
in their own town look bad.
if they're friends with that guy, if they have a business relationship, they're not going to reach out and ask any hard questions. They just won't do it. They won't. Like some of these questions, I think have been kind of complicated, and it'd be really complicated if it was the superintendent that came on. But he would never in a million years come on.
Yeah, the Way 31, they
Yeah.
reached out to the school. They
They
posted it. They've tried.
They
No
declined to
response.
comment. Declined to comment. Yeah, and see that makes you look worse than commenting. I think you should say something. Like I said, I reached out for a quote. They didn't give me enough. Like the lady was very nice that answered the phone. She remembered me from school. Super polite. And she told me that she would give him my information in order for him to call me back. And that was Friday at lunch. I had a lunch break. That was Friday, man. That's been, that's yesterday.
Yeah.
This
And
was,
that was enough time to call me back.
I reached out to them Wednesday or Thursday, in the morning of Wednesday and Thursday.
The superintendent's office or the news?
The Times Journal.
Times Journal. Okay.
Never heard nothing back.
Call Marla, see what she says. I'll call her too, see if she's gonna say it. I'll get a quote from Marla. They'll be like,
Marla is a
"What?"
sweetheart.
She is sweet.
I love her. But if she don't get involved with this, I understand that too.
Yeah, because maybe they're friends.
I get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard being in between.
Yeah.
So no hard feelings towards her at all.
I get that. I do think the story should be put out regardless of who's friends with who. That's just my opinion. But
People are asking.
and maybe they're not friends. Maybe it's just a hey, we don't know what's going on for sure yet. But from what I can tell, I would be angry just like you guys are. Fort Payne needs to understand they're supposed to take care of the children no matter what. Gloria Garcia said no one personal that her daughter threatened to cut someone and got suspended for a week. Said that to say this: if a county school can handle a situation with disciplinary action like that, why can't Fort Payne City do anything about a situation that is becoming a big problem in America itself? It shouldn't be taken lightly. So sad to hear this. We're about to shut her off here in a little bit. If y'all want to call in, speak your piece before we do, feel free to go ahead. While we're waiting on them, if they want to do that, y'all, is there anything y'all think I missed? Anything y'all want to say? Things like that?
Well, everybody's commenting that I haven't, that I need to reach out to the school board, that I need to reach out. Like everybody's commenting that I have.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know if I have really spoke on that. I've sent 6 to 7 emails. Their attorney, the superintendent's attorney, told me the school board isn't getting involved. It just boils down to, are they wanting a tragic to happen
Yeah.
before it's taken serious?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to wait for something like that to happen.
No, it doesn't make any sense. If y'all would, if you're on here, and you two guys, if y'all share it around, the more views for you, the more views for me. It's good for everybody. Yeah, the more it travels around, the better. And maybe something will happen. At least a suspension. Maybe a paddling would be good. I'd take anything over what's
Over nothing.
Yeah, over nothing. I would have pulled my kids. I did pull my kids. I think there's great teachers in the school system. I do believe that. I don't want to sit there and worry about what's happening and who's around my kid.
Nick, one of Nick's teachers, and I'm not going to say any names, she has asked to remain anonymous in this whole thing. she has reached out,
Okay,
and she fully supports Nicholas.
that's awesome.
So I agree that my mother-in-law is a teacher.
Yeah.
Like, I agree.
This is not a battle against the school system. She's pro your son. She's a good teacher. Heck
Somebody
yeah.
commented on here, the school boards won't do anything. The schools do not care for your kids' safety, just like our workforce is. Like, people has had enormous amount of problems from the school.
Yes, ma'am. Now, how many people you've ended up with? How many people on your TikTok just with this? How are the
Well,
views
on
going?
the initial video, there's 530,000.
Okay,
And I don't know on all the other ones.
so it is getting attention. Beth Kilgore suggested folks need to show up at the next board meeting. This is not something to be swept under the rug. Board meetings are public.
They are public.
We can bring a
but
camera.
I've been told that you have to actually submit and ask for permission to speak at the board meeting.
Yeah.
And we all know they're never going to agree to let me speak there.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with picket fence signs, and things like that. But that's what I've told other people too. Like if there's something that you have a problem with, they won't let you talk because a lot of people ain't gonna let you talk. Man, a blowhorn goes a long way. A sign goes a long way. I got one out there.
Oh, yeah.
But man, guys, I really do hope everything gets worked out good for y'all. Jamie Leanne, I can't say the last name, but Jamie Leanne says I had to transfer my child to a new school due to bullying and lack of compassion from school faculty members. Wasn't Fort Payne school, but a school in Alabama. I really am sorry this happened. I'm sorry y'all's son was threatened. That's terrible. No parent should see their kid tore up like that, and also even know that they were threatened like that. I hope y'all get a really good outcome going forward. I appreciate y'all coming on here and talking to me and letting us have people call in. I know that's not the easiest thing in the world, but I think realistically, overall, it was a cool experience. I've never had that happen like that. Y'all probably have it. It was a good experience. And more importantly, it was attention on the story. And I really, really do appreciate y'all. And I'm rooting for you guys. I hope it goes good for the kids. I hope y'all have a good life moving forward and we all get to hang out. And, maybe next time y'all come in, y'all can be like, oh, well, this all good happened. But that's all I got, guys. Riley Chambers said, and this is why I sent this story to the grapevine. Get the attention. Mr. Chambers, we appreciate you guys. All y'all watching along at home. Man, y'all have a good day. I'm gonna cut it. Oh, he can. It's okay. You want to say hello? Okay, hang on. Boom, boom. Look at that. All right.
Say hello.
Well,
Hello.
Say, how are you?
How are you?
And tell them to have a good day because
Have a
we're
good
getting
day.
off. What?
Have a good day.
There we go. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate
thanks,
it.
guys. Y'all have a good day. Thank you so much. Thank y'all so much for watching along at home and participating. That was awesome.